Okay, hello everyone. So, I returned to Dota after almost 5 years, and I think more than 5 years. I realized I still have replays from 2016 in this game. So, my history in Dota started in like 2004, 2005. I was in Warcraft 3. Back then, Dota was a mini game, and it's your classic tale of high schooler getting into this kind of mini game with a bunch of friends, and later it turns out the mini game became famous. So you're lucky to be part of that group to enjoy that kind of moment in time where the game you cherish becomes a very famous game. And I was never really one of the like pros or anything like that. I was just a decent player for my time. I played in some tournaments in college and in school and stuff like that. And of course, I had my wins, I had my losses, but I never really got like first place or anything like that. We were close though. I think we got second once and third once, and there were a few times I participated in online tournaments, but a lot of the time, which we did win, sometimes we did perform well, but of course I think a lot of times we actually got lucky. And to be fair, there are a lot of people out there who are way better players than me. Regardless, I believe that I'm a good judge in Dota 2, and this is something that I never really got to expend my talents in because, hey, I mean, if you're just an ordinary person who watches the game, you normally can either play or watch. You don't get to do this kind of thing, which is really cool. So Dota introduced this thing called Overwatch, and apparently it was introduced early this year, and I wasn't aware of this. But now that I checked back, it was introduced sometime early this year, and apparently it's a system, as it says here, that allows to regulate other players' performance, and you get to get these cases if you have a very good conduct summary. So my conduct is really good, right? I'm really not a toxic player in any way in the way I play the game. I may not be the best player out there, so obviously, pro players would be like, "Hey, you're not, oh no, you idiot! What are you doing in the game? Why aren't you better than me?" So yeah, I may not be the best player out there, but then again, whatever I do for the better of the team. If you can see my background here, it's a Crystal Maiden, and I've been playing quite a bit of support, and I have been winning. So I believe that I have the right to be the judge of these cases. Regardless, it's going to be a completely unbiased decision. So let's review the case that we have here. So I've already reviewed 3 cases, I think. I just tested it out just to see whether I'm doing the right thing. So I've reviewed 3 cases. The first one was actually guilty. It was this guy just running in and feeding continuously. It was absolutely horrifying. So that was a case of feeding. The second case was a case of what do you call this? uh, Grieving or something like that. See, the thing is, you can't really see the chat logs in this. So that's something that I'm not really aware of how that person is being abusive. But because you have the option to mute, it's more so a matter of the way they play. Because the game doesn't allow you to judge people based on their chat, so that's in a way a good thing. I think because if you have the ability to mute people, you might as well just mute the game and start it. But to be fair, I would like to be able to judge people based on what they chat as well, because you don't really want to encourage abusive behavior. At the same time, you want to encourage communication, because in a game of 5 players, communication is key, right? It's a team game. It's a team game. So the second one, I believe there was insufficient evidence, because there was this guy who was reported for grieving, and he did a lot of farming, and he just got caught out in bad situations, and he dies. But I didn't see him like running into the enemy and dying, or feeding couriers, or doing anything stupid like that. So I'm not sure what the chat is like, but I have reported as insufficient evidence, because he did have a lot of deaths, but a lot of them resulted from him just being caught in certain situations, not really running into the enemy in any way. The third player, I believe, was an anti-mage that just farmed all game and was absolutely useless in the team fights. But I do believe that that's just a case of him being a bad player, and not really a case of grieving, because he didn't like purposely dive into fights and die. He did fight towards the end of the game, but it was just too late for him, because he spent most of his time just farming and losing team fights because he wasn't there in the fights. So he's just a bad player. So I feel it's not right to report him for abusive conduct. That's not really the case. So here there's a slug. let's just see what this is all about, right? So as you can see, I was judging the anti-mage previously. So this is a bug that they have yet to fix, which is when I load in the next replay, the previous hero's portrait is still showing here. So if I just switch out, wait, do I have to play first? I have to play and switch these. Yeah, now I can switch back to slot. So here we go. So I'm going to reduce my volume a little bit. I like to stay in this highest level view because I want to get as much information about what's happening here as possible. So they do lock you into the hero's vision. Even if I switch to free camera, I am stuck in the hero's vision, so I do not get to see what's out of their vision radius. At the same time, there are cases of reports for hacking, and I do not know if I'll be able to see that person's view if they have a sort of a vision bot or something like that. And I mean, even if we can't see it, I think, having the fog of war toggle would be a good thing. So we at least know if that player was able to see something that was out of their vision specifically, or they were just skillful. Like, if a Punch throws a hook or a Mirana shoots an arrow, um, if you don't have the fog of war, maybe you can know exactly where the mouse pointer, stuff like that was. So here we see Slug participating in this fight, and he dies. And he was reported for feeding apparently. No, this is not a case of feeding. Slug just joined in the fight and died. I see nothing wrong with that. And the previous marker as well, he was reported for feeding during this marker, of which I do not see any circumstances of him feeding. Okay, you know what? Let's not skip this. Let's just watch this through, because sometimes I feel skipping causes things to not show. Okay, so there are some things going on here. Did he feed a courier? No, he did not. He's absolutely fine. He's just in a dangerous position here. Is he gonna get caught out? Yeah, he got a tower. I mean, that's okay. He got a tower, and he's gonna die. He's gonna pay for that with his life. That's not feeding, if you ask me. That's just him being overconfident, and also diving to get the tower. And quite frankly, if we just go back a little bit, right? Just go back a little bit to when he dies, or rather when he takes the tower, I think would be a good point. Yeah, so he takes the tower sometime here. Let's just see what his 428 gold, 525. His entire team gets a bit of gold as well, right? And he dies for 253 gold. That's a win, quite frankly, because he took down an enemy's defense. His entire team gets gold, and it's all at the cost of 253 gold for him, which is fine. I mean, of course, the opponent gets the gold, but in a way, at level 9, it's not really a big deal, right? It's not really a big deal. Okay, so the next marker, he clearly dies in a team fight, right? He dies in this Timbersaw team fight. He just goes in and gets melted by a Timbersaw. I think that's just overcommitting. It's not really, what do you call this? Feeding. It's not feeding. Feeding would be if he were to do that by himself. Take on like 2-3 enemies by himself, knowing full well that he's gonna die. I think that would be considered feeding, and of course running into enemy towers just continuously would be considered obvious feeding. So here we see him come out here. Whoa, whoa, okay, so he's diving on an enemy here. The enemy is clearly alone in terms of vision, right? Wait, what do we have? There's a yellow. There's a Ricky somewhere here. Oh, I see. So we do have some kind of vision as well. Oh, that's interesting. So the game actually shows up Ricky in the map for us to click on, and the marker is here in the minimap, but we can't see Ricky for obvious reasons, right? Okay, so let's just play this. He's right in front of his tower. His teammates are showing up to back him up, but maybe it's not soon enough. Ricky's gonna blink strike, and he gets the kill. Nah, this is not a case of feeding at all. It's just him being overconfident. He's just a bad player, I guess. And also, in between his two towers, You know, he has the backup of his teammates as well. Yeah, it's fair to say this is not feeding. All right, let's go to the next marker and see what's happening here. So we obviously have Slug back. We have a Death Prophet ultimate going on. He wants to jump on this Timbersaw. There's a puck with him, so they are in a team fight, right? He's actually a good player to be participating in these team fights with his team. That's a nice. It was a jump stun. He caught the enemy and then he got the kill and got back. He wants to dive for the Death Prophet, but he gets caught in this. What's this guy Mars, right? In Mars's arena, and then he dies Timbersaw. Once again, that's definitely not feeding. Okay, let's just speed this up. Okay, he's back. He's back now? Yeah, he's back. Okay, here we go. Let's pause this again. Let's go to 1x and let's see what happens. Anything else? Is this luck? So obviously we don't get to see the names of the actual players, which is, I mean, the best way to make it unbiased because, you know, who knows, right? Who knows? Regardless, I wouldn't be biased in any situation, even if it were my own friends or even me. I think it's fair to say that if you are not a person who, you know, has bad conduct, you have no reason to worry. But at the same time, there are people who may be judging for their friends and on behalf, you know, like tournament cases. So Slug dies there in a team fight. He didn't feed, he just hopped right in to Death Prophet with 3 of his teammates around him. And he gets stunned by an Ogre Magi, and they just can't keep him alive. They have no ways of healing him. They have no ways of defending him. They do have a Force Staff though, and they don't have vision to protect themselves against this Ogre, who's doing way too much work in this fight. So I think this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to submit this. He's not guilty of cheating. He's not guilty of grieving or abusive behavior. So well done, Slock. You were just a decent player, but not a bad player in any way. You participated in all your team fights. You just got caught in the bad situations, and unfortunately, you had to pay with it. I mean, pay for it with your life. So it looks like that's all we get to watch. I'm a little bit disappointed. So sometimes it does show up here and it says that review this, please review this. So now I'm not seeing any more of those. Let's just check if we can see it in the watch column here. Replays. So do they get stored here? No, they do not. I think it's just like a temporary thing that gets deleted after you watch it. Is that how it works? Let's see. 2016. As you can see, all my replays from 2016 are still here. I haven't really played much since and haven't stored a replay since. Okay, let's just come back. Alright, looks like that's it for today. We're not reviewing anything else, unfortunately. Regardless, it was nice to review some matches and maybe help some people out, because I do know players who get reported for the wrong reasons. People just abuse the report button thinking that a player is bad just because they're not playing to the way they want. I mean, hell, in pub matches it's really tricky. In team matches you obviously can communicate, and communication is key. So that's it from me for this one. I'll see you guys in the next. Adios, guys.